Thank you. Well, still ahead, a death row inmate set to be executed in a matter of days makes his final case to the commutation board. News specialist Brian Carlson breaks down his arguments when we come back.
Take a look at these empty.
A Utah inmate on death row is making a last-ditch effort to avoid the death penalty. Convicted killer Tabron Honey met before the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole today in their final day of hearings, listening to testimony about whether Honey should live. News specialist Brian Carlson is live at the state prison in Salt Lake City with what happens now. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Ashley, that's a big question here in this case. If Honey is executed, it'll be Utah's first prisoner execution in 14 years. Now, Honey's attorneys are hoping that won't happen. And today they made their final plea before the board, asking for mercy. Tabron Honey was convicted of murdering his ex-girlfriend's mother in front of her 3 grandchildren back in 1998. Now, before his attorneys made their closing arguments in today's hearing, the family of the mother he murdered testified before the board, pleading with them not to change his death sentence. They say the ongoing pain they've experienced has stretched out for 26 years. Although the board won't allow us to show you their faces, you could hear the pain and the heartache that they've been carrying.
I have to go to the cemetery for the holidays, Mother's Day, her birthday. I go down on the anniversary of her death. We can't make no more memories with her.
My family didn't choose this for you, nor did we choose this sentence.
The best thing for me, my choice, would be the death penalty. Let's get this over.
Now, despite today's pleas from the victim's family, Honey's attorneys are asking the board to let him live. Coming up on KSL-5 News at 6, I'll let you hear the arguments on why they should spare his life and how soon the board plans to make a decision. Keep in mind, he's scheduled to die August 8th. Live here at the state prison, Brian Carlson, KSL-5 News. Back to you.
All right, Brian, great reporting. Thank you. Well, a Salt Lake City worker accident. Kristen, looking forward to that. Thank you. Well, we have some new developments in Utah's first prisoner execution in 14 years. Convicted killer Tabron Honey made his last-ditch plea to the State Board of Pardons and Parole today, asking them to spare his life. News specialist Brian Carlson has more. Brian?
Ashley, we're coming down to the final days before Tabron Honey is scheduled to be executed on August 8th. Today, the Board of Pardons and Parole listened to his attorney's arguments and why they should let him live, and why the family of the woman murdered says he deserves to die. Making a final plea for mercy. Today, inside the state prison, death row inmate Tabron Honey appeared before the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole, his attorneys asking them to spare his life.
Mr. Honey is here today asking for your mercy and your grace.
It's the last day of a 2-day hearing, where they're asking instead to give him life without parole. Honey was convicted of brutally murdering his ex-girlfriend's mother in front of her grandchildren in 1998. While he doesn't deny the crime, his attorneys say he was so blackout drunk he doesn't remember what he did.
He began drinking that day at 8 a.m. He had consumed 2 18-packs of beer with a friend. He smoked marijuana. He drank hard liquor over the course of the day. He used methamphetamine and later drank more beer and hard liquor.
Some of the family of Claudia Ben, whom he murdered, also spoke at today's hearing and refuted that claim. The board asking the media not to show their faces.
You can't give that excuse that you didn't know what you did, because you know, in your mind, you know what you were doing.
The family also describing the pain he caused them.
It's supposed to say forgive and forget. I don't know if I can forgive this man for killing my aunt.
Tabron, you robbed us. Totally robbed us.
And I've waited for this day to come for the last 26 years.
In the state's closing arguments, they say nothing has changed since Honey was sentenced for the heinous killing.
Honey presents nothing materially new to this board to warrant commutation. Nothing to warrant disturbing the sentencing judge's weighing of the aggravating and mitigating factors.
In their final arguments, his attorneys say what has changed is his accountability. They say he's not the same man he was 26 years ago and needs to live to be a part of the lives of his own daughter and granddaughter. Now, the board listened to all of that, as well as the testimony of his family the day before. They say they'll now deliberate and take his plea into careful consideration. They'll then issue a written decision in the next week or two, but before he's scheduled to die in 16 days. Here at the Utah State Prison, Brian Carlson, KSL 5 News.
Brian, thank you. Well, straight ahead here.